And we are back to the Entrepreneur's Edge TV. I'm your host, Janice McLean Deloach, and here with me I have Nick Resurrection, who is a CPA, and his company is called Resurrection CPA. So hello, Nick. Thank you for coming. Hi. Nice to see you today. Can you just start by telling us a little bit about your company and yourself, your background a little bit?
Well, about 3 years ago, I hung out my shingle and opened up my own sole practitioner public accounting firm. Before that, I was at one of the nation's largest public accounting firms and decided to move out on my own. I've been doing that for the last 3 years, and I focus on entrepreneurs and growing businesses. Most of my clients have been around in business for 1 to 3 years, and recently I've been getting a lot of women-owned businesses. Okay. It's been a nice niche.
Yeah, there seems to be a huge push with the whole industry of women-owned businesses. We've always been around. It's just now, you know, we count because women have lots of buying power and lots of dollars, and actually we control a lot more than just businesses, households, and most of the things, most sales that are made 9 times out of 10 are done to women in a larger spurt, if you will. So you decided to go into business for yourself, and most of your clients are women-owned businesses. What is your niche? Is there one that you have per se?
Well, businesses that have been around 1 to 3 years, and the women-owned businesses is a niche. It's not my sole focus. My general, my typical type of client is just a general business who is in the startup phase and is growing.
As an accountant, you often see companies that come to you after they've become profitable. Why should you be one of the initial steps that they make when they're starting up?
A few reasons. The main reason is because of the IRS. They want you to track your
records. That's always important.
They want you to track your finances and file a tax return. If you wait until you're profitable, that's when business owners start to understand how high the tax rates really are when you combine all of them together. Your average taxpayer may pay a 25% federal tax rate, 8% state tax rate, and self-employment taxes is about 15.3%. So you add those 3 tax rates up and you're up to almost 50%. So once you become profitable, 50% of your income may go towards taxes.
Okay. Now earlier we talked with Jeff Glazer, who's with Hodes Ullman Pessin and Katz, and we talked a little bit about charters, and he had some very good information on the different types of charters, like a S corporation, partnership, limited liability corporations. Again, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why would you be an important step for someone who's setting up those corporations? How can you aid them in their businesses as well?
If we're looking at the tax rates again, your entity structure and what you choose will determine the tax rate, tax brackets you will be in, or how the IRS will tax you. So doing planning ahead of time and understanding, coming to a CPA who understands the different types of entities and how they're taxed, and then understanding the taxpayer, and then what we do is choose the appropriate structure from a tax standpoint.
If you were drafting legislation that would help small businesses, entrepreneurs, or medium-sized companies, what thought comes to mind? Something you would change?
I'm not a politician, but I would.
It's not about being a politician. You work with it every day. So
I would say it would be nice to see a tax break for new businesses. A business that has been around maybe for the first 3 years of business, it'd be nice to see a very low or 0 tax bracket for those businesses. Allow more of them to get started for the first few years, and then you tax them as they become profitable.
Now, this may be a rumor, I don't know, maybe you can tell me about that. Foreign businesses don't pay taxes on their businesses for the first 5 years. Is that correct or no?
It might be more of a rumor.
Because what you just mentioned is a great idea, and I was wondering, and I've heard that often, that foreign companies don't pay taxes on their businesses the first 5 years. I don't know if that's true or not. In fact, I'd really like to find out. So if anybody knows, please send us an email at info@entrepreneursedge.org, because I'd really like to know about that. And I think it is a great idea that small businesses may not be taxed for the first 1 to 3 years, because it is an initial stage, which is very hard. And most of the time they're working with limited cash flow as well. So I think that's a good point. Another question I have for you, can you explain some of the tax structures between the different entities that we talked about earlier?
Right. A lot of new businesses that are coming to me, they're forming as an LLC. And with an LLC, you can choose from a tax standpoint how to be taxed, whether it would be a sole proprietorship whether it's a partnership if you have more than 2 members, or as an S corporation. So an S corporation is taxed. S corporation is not taxed. The income flows through to the partners, to the members, shareholders.
Okay.
If you choose to be taxed as a partnership, that would flow through to each partner, and they would be taxed individually. And a sole proprietor would be taxed on his 1040.
Individually,
Right,
yeah.
individually. So when there are more than 1 member or 1 partner, there's definitely advantages to choosing one structure or another. One example might be if you have 2 founders who have started up a business and maybe a third comes in and has the equity investment, how you allocate those losses in the first few years can make a big difference depending on what type of structure you are.
Okay.
So in S corporation, you would allocate the losses based on your ownership interest.
Okay.
And with the partnership,
Okay.
you can allocate it a little differently.
Can you just say that part one more time? Because I
Yes.
want to make sure I'm clear on that, because I need to know this now.
say you have 2 entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and they own 90% of the company. An investor comes in and he owns 10% of the company.
Okay.
As an S corporation, the loss would be spread according to your ownership. 90% to the founders, the entrepreneurs, 10% of the losses to the
investor. Okay.
But if you think about the situation, if an investor is putting in 100% of the money and you have losses,
He's
in
losing
theory,
a huge chunk of money.
and he would want those losses allocated to him. So
Okay.
choosing a partnership structure, you can do that.
Okay.
So that's a big benefit that is often overlooked.
Okay. Nick, Resurrection CPA. If people would like to contact you or get in touch with you, how can they do that, please?
Best way is through the phone.
Okay.
My
What's your
phone number
number?
is 410-962-7336.
410-962-7336. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on.
Thanks.
Stay tuned. We will be right back.